Welcome to Unit 4, and for the first story of the unit, we have the war against Mexico and the U.S. It started in 1846, 2 years ago, and ended in 1848. You may ask why the war started, but the United States wanted to expand west and the annexation of Texas to occur. The battle happened at the Alamo, and now we have Sydney on the scene at the Alamo.
The westward expansion was a long process. The Mexican-American War altered former Mexican citizens who lived in the territories seceded by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo to the United States. These people were promised United States citizenship in their former lands by the United States. When citizens of the eastern United States traveled into new territories, Mexican citizens were ignored as the Easterners stole their land and settled down. Using the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo as one of their arguments, many Americans tried to regain their lost lands through lawsuits. Also, the Americans suffered heavy losses, nearly 13,000 dead, including about 1,700 in combat, and the rest to diseases such as yellow fever, malaria, and smallpox. We will continue to monitor these stories very closely and will keep you informed on later developments. Reporting live, Sydney Norwood, UNN4, now to discuss economics of the
The
land.
economy in the South is agricultural and relied on such crops as cotton, tobacco, and rice. Even if both the Southerners wanted to build factories, they couldn't because they lacked the capital to do so. They depended on land and slaves to do their farming and get all their resources. By 1820, the plantation system of farming had transformed Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama into a booming cotton kingdom. In a way, Eli Whitney's invention of the cotton gin accelerated the expansion of slavery. In the North, heavy investment in canals and railroads transformed the Northeast into a center of American commerce. By 1838, the National Road went from Cumberland, Maryland to Vandalia, Illinois. After the opening of the Erie Canal in 1825, New York City became the central link between American agriculture and European markets. More cotton was exported through the New York City than through any other American city. By 1840, improved transportation and communication made American regions interdependent.
In this next story, we're going to take a look back at Andrew Jackson and his presidency and the Panic of 1837. In 1828, Andrew Jackson beat John Quincy Adams by 140,000. Jackson was then named the Man of the People. As he continued to focus on executive expansion to vacate the Indians west of the Mississippi, another goal that Jackson had was to destroy the National Bank and remove national debt. Jackson was an excellent general and led his troops into several successful battles, including the Battle of New Orleans in 1837. Martin Van Buren was elected president. Shortly after the major recession, profits, prices, and wages went down while employment went up. This was known as the Panic of 1837, which was sparked by Jackson's order to withdraw all federal funds from the National Bank. The Panic of 1837 lasted several years and ended in the mid-1840s as a result of Van Buren. Last but not least, the Native Indians west of the Mississippi War removed as the Indian Removal Act was passed in 1838, creating what's now known as the Trail of Tears. That's it for politics. The next topic that we're talking about is the abolitionist movement. It started in 1830 and has continued on. It was the movement to stop slavery. It started in New York and Massachusetts and quickly spread everywhere else in the northern states. Many big abolitionists came from it, like Frederick Douglass, Susan B. Anthony, and Harriet Tubman, the most known. Frederick Douglass is often called the father of the civil rights movement and was an abolitionist, human rights and women's rights activist. Susan B. Anthony was an American social reformer and women's rights activist who played a private role in the women's suffrage movement. Harriet Tubman created the Underground Railroad, and some believe she helped save around 100,000 slaves between 1800 and 1865.
Religion during the Mexican-American War was heavily Catholic. During the war, amidst all the death and bloodshed, they used religion as a way to seek meaning in their suffering and as well as why they were suffering. The war tested the strength of people's faith and how it affected them. The war took place toward the end of the Second Great Awakening. The Second Great Awakening was a time when Baptist and Methodist preachers led a religious revival movement and helped fuel reform movements like the temperance movement, women's suffrage movements, and the abolitionist movements. The Mexican-American War was also during the westward expansion movement, and westward expansion was a time filled with religious influence and filled with people like the Mormons moving westward to Utah, and some Mormons even becoming a part of the Mormon Battalion, which was the first regular religious army unit ever made.
Good morning, I'm Sydney Norwood, and this is UNN4. Today we will be interviewing a former citizen, Juan, from the Mexican-American War. So, Juan, I know the westward expansion was a long, continuous process. How did the Treaty of Guadalupe affect you?
Well, the treaty was nothing close to what was promised. The treaty was supposed to guarantee the right to retain in the United States territory and choose to retain Mexican citizenship or become citizens of the United States and provide protected land and grants.
You said that there were a few rights that were promised, so what happened instead?
As soon as I was about to receive my U.S. citizenship, I was told that I just lost all of my land.
Oh no, that's terrible. Was there anything that you could do to get it back?
I tried everything. Lawsuits didn't even work. The U.S. government has routinely turned away complaints made from every family and the individuals.
I know that the granted land and citizenship really had an impact, but can you explain what you heard or felt during the Mexican-American War?
Yeah, I will forever remember the war as a scar. The difference in referral is based on the different perceptions of the conflict. And to understand my individual viewpoints and other citizens of the war, it is important to first understand the problem of the annexation of Texas. The annexation of Texas to the United States was unacceptable for both legal and security reasons. I've heard that the Mexican government states that the annexation of Texas to the U.S. was a violation of the 1828 border treaty. The Mexican government was gravely offended by the United States due to its action and had always wanted to maintain in a negotiable manner within the U.S. The Mexican government had two choices. They could give in and establish a friendly relationship to the United States, proving to the world that later on, Mexico would always be a slave to the United States of the Mexicans, and to the Mexican government, would not surrender to such degradation and to resort to war.
So I'm very sorry about all of that. I can't believe most of your valuable possessions could just be taken away like that. But we really appreciate you coming on the show and explaining your personal experience with the Mexican-American War.
For the 10-second trivia, we have two questions. Question 1. What was Andrew Jackson's main goal under administration? Was it A, to remove Indians west of Mississippi, B, to destroy the national bank, C, to remove all national debt, or D, all of the above? The answer is D, all of the above. For question 2, the question is, the lands gained by the United States as a result of the Mexican War are known as the A, Gadsden Purchase, B, Louisiana Purchase, C, Texas Annexation, or D, Mexican Secession. The answer is C, Texas Annexation. I just think it's strange how someone who opposed the National Bank is on the $20 bill. I guess he couldn't change what he wanted to. Not because he lost interest or because he was a loan. It's probably because he was going through withdrawals. This is UNN4. Bryce Jackson at you. Catch you next time.